Every year in our game, we traditionally celebrate Halloween, and the developers add various activities to the game. Most often, it's an event centered around a specific tank, which you can obtain by either playing a lot or spending a little from your in-game wallet to get the coveted tank. Of course, tanks that developers add for Halloween don't exactly look historically accurate, and that's actually their unique feature. But appearance is far from the most important thing. What really matters is how they perform in the battles. Today, I'll rank these Halloween tanks and tell you about each Halloween event, starting from the very first one and ending with the event currently ongoing. So, get your snacks and drinks ready, we're getting started. Friends, in today's tech-savvy world, it's no secret that for many people, YouTube is the primary source of income. Each of you can start creating videos right now and earn from it. You don't even need a computer because the most crucial aspect of any video is high-quality sound. That's why I want to recommend an excellent service from my friends, my Vocal AI. This service uses artificial intelligence and can replicate your voice or any other voice in just a few clicks. All you need to do is record 25 phrases or upload an audio file with any voice, and the neural network will create an exact copy. After that, you can use your voice to narrate any text or even listen to how you sing different tracks.
And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. Ooh, make me wanna cry.
And with the promo code SweatchVoice23, you'll get a 23% discount. Start earning online with my Vocal AI. All the details will be in the description. I decided to start with the less interesting events and finish with the juiciest and coolest ones. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Tankenstein. This is a true Frankenstein with a hull from a Tiger Porsche, a turret from a KV-4, and a gun from the SU-100Y. You could obtain it way back in 2015. By the way, it was the very first event in our game of all time. Correct me if I'm wrong. Back then, to get this tank, you had to put in some serious effort and earn a whopping 410,000 experience points. And that's considering that experience multipliers weren't taken into account, and not everyone had a premium account. As for the tank itself, at the time of its release, it was somewhat interesting and could perform decently in random battles, but now it's simply outdated. Of course, it has a unique feature in the form of an invulnerable crew. However, at Tier 7, there are more interesting and much stronger tanks. That's why I decided to start with it. Let's move on. Let's fast forward to 2018. It was during that year that the developers provided players with the opportunity to obtain a new tank, the Gravedigger, absolutely for free. Initially, everyone was taken aback and afraid of it. After all, penetrating it was quite a challenging task, especially considering that the tank wasn't particularly slow. But that didn't last long. As time passed, players learned to penetrate its lower frontal plate and turret cheeks. So now, this tank is only capable of delivering emotions. It comes with excellent ramming capabilities and a fun gun with 6 shots, each dealing 90 damage, and a reload time of just 1 second. What most players liked the most was that you could sell it for 2,500 gold. Yes, it's a sad truth, 99% of players sold it. However, no one really cared about it because for the first time in the game, the Mad Games mode was introduced, and everyone was overjoyed. Now let's continue our journey. The year is 2021, and we're talking about the event featuring the Titan Agent. This time around, to obtain the tank, you had to purchase a special pass. However, it turned out that the tank didn't quite live up to the expectations. Of course, it introduced a new mechanic called Dynamic Armor, where after losing 50% of your hit points, additional armor plates would deploy on the tank. This mechanic is actually pretty good, but the other tank characteristics came out way too weak. Because of this, I'd say this event rightfully earned its place on the list. Let's move on. 2019 was a turning point as developers began experimenting with donation events. By purchasing a special pass, you could get yourself a pretty decent tank, the Lycan. So what can be said about it? It's very well balanced, with a standard gun dealing 400 damage, average mobility, and medium armor. In addition, it comes with an exclusive mechanic called Werewolf Defense, which makes it impossible to critical hit any of its modules. Something similar was seen with the Tankenstein, but it involved the crew. Certainly, the Lycan is a good tank, but it's not outstanding. It's quite standard and, as a result, rather dull. It can't dominate in random battles and doesn't offer its owners any exceptional experiences. That's why it rightfully holds its balanced place on this list. Let's continue. Now, let's get to the most interesting part. Let's not waste any time and dive into the year 2017. This was the time when developers collaborated with Warhammer 40,000 and introduced an event featuring 2 highly unusual tanks, the Predator and the Vindicator. There's not much to say about the first one. It's a weak and massive hunk of metal that can't do much. But when it comes to the Vindicator, I could talk about it forever. First of all, take a look at its appearance. It's like a bulldozer that first kills and then, thanks to its massive bucket, clears the battlefield of destroyed enemy tanks. It's like a tank-sized sanitation vehicle. But in all seriousness, it's like the SU-152, only with a bucket for armor. Of course, you can penetrate it, but this tank is a rare sight in battles and not everyone knows how to deal with it. It's not the most powerful tank, but it's incredibly fun. That's why it rightly earns an honorable place at the end of this video. Next, I decided to include the current event featuring the Forest Witch. Why did I choose to include this tank here? Well, it's quite simple. The tank is still new, and I haven't had the chance to compare it to other tanks yet. But in the near future, I'll definitely provide a review of this tank because based on my initial impressions, it might even compete with tanks like the Smasher and Annihilator. Speaking of the Annihilator, let's talk about them for a moment. This happened in 2020. To obtain it, you had to purchase a special pass, and in return, you got one of the strongest tanks at Tier 7. By the way, in my latest video, I compared it to the Smasher. If you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out. The link will be at the end of this video. As for the Annihilator, I'll repeat myself. It's a very powerful tank. It comes with an unusual 3-shot gun, excellent armor, and even has an improved engine booster. Not many tanks can compete with the Annihilator, but there are a few tanks I'll be talking about next. I believe most of you have already guessed that I'm talking about the 2016 event called Night Hunt, Light vs. Dark. This was a truly legendary event where you could obtain 2 tanks with unique abilities, Dracula and Helsing. These 2 acrobatic brothers wreaked havoc in random battles. Dracula had insane speed and held a record in the game for acceleration. It also had a mechanic where a damaged wheel would repair itself in just 1 second without the use of a repair kit. In addition, it featured an excellent gun with minus 10 degrees of gun depression and screens that protected the tank from HE shells. Dracula can still compete with the Annihilator. Many claim that it's outdated, but that's far from the truth. I've played with all these tanks, and Dracula was my favorite. Moreover, I managed to achieve an average damage of 3,500 points in 200 battles with it. I'll share how I did that in a short video tomorrow. As for the second tank, the Helsing, it's still one of the best, but Dracula is slightly stronger. However, in defense of the Helsing, it's worth noting that Dracula can only be effectively played by experienced players, while playing the Helsing only requires a basic understanding of where the fire button is. The tank is very pleasant and straightforward. I placed this event in the first spot because, firstly, it stirred a storm of emotions among players, and even set a record for the highest online player count on the RU server, reaching 84,000 players. For a game that was only 3 years old at the time, that was mind-blowing. Most importantly, these tanks could be obtained absolutely for free. Friends, I appreciate that you've watched this video all the way to the end. And as a token of my appreciation, I'm launching a new giveaway with 2 prize spots. All you need to do is subscribe to my channel and follow my Telegram channel. This is important because I'll be selecting the winners from there. You can find all the information in the pinned message. I will choose 2 lucky winners who will receive the Dracula tank on their accounts. So, don't hesitate and participate. Everyone has an equal chance. By the way, in the Telegram channel, you can also find the results of the previous giveaway for 5 battle passes. The link will be in the description and comments. I wish everyone the best of luck. As you've noticed, developers add only Tier 7 tanks for Halloween and put a lot of effort into making it interesting for you to play. I also strive to provide content for you because there's very little World of Tanks Blitz content in English. So, I hope you'll support me. In the near future, I'll release a video reviewing the Forest Witch and share my thoughts on this tank. I think it will be interesting. For now, I bid farewell to you and thank you for watching my videos. Goodbye, everyone.